Hello everyone. Science Spot is a podcast that shines a spotlight on the latest scientific technology from Japan. Your host is Ran from SCIEN-TALK. Today I want to talk about the textbook. We often hear about the goal of achieving a decarbonized society, especially in the fight against global warming. This phrase generally means reducing the atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide released from burning fossil fuels like oil and coal. However, the Chemical Society of Japan issued a strong statement in 2022, arguing that the term decarbonization is misleading and scientifically inaccurate. They are pushing for the use of the term carbon circulation society instead. Why is decarbonization a problem? Well, if you hear decarbonization, you might picture a society without carbon, but scientifically, that's impossible and undesirable. Every living thing, including us, is made of carbon. Many products we use, like wood and plastics, also contain carbon. Carbon is an essential element. The core issue is precision. The true goal is not eliminating carbon, but achieving net zero emissions, a state where the output and absorption of greenhouse gases, particularly carbon dioxide, are balanced. This is where the concept of carbon circulation comes in. We need systems that absorb the carbon dioxide we released and bringing it back into the circulation. Think of plants doing photosynthesis, absorbing atmospheric carbon dioxide and converting it into organic compounds like wood. The goal, therefore, should be to maintain this natural balance, making carbon circulation society the correct term. We can compare this to managing resources. We don't want to stop using resources altogether, but we want to ensure that every resource is calculated without stressing the environment. This fight over terminology is crucial because misleading words can cause social misunderstandings. Let's look at another change that happened recently in Japanese textbooks. In genetics, terms for heredity were changed from dominant gene, you say, and recessive gene, let's say, to expressive inheritance, kensei, and latent inheritance, sensei. Why the change? The older terms dominant and recessive were often misunderstood socially. People mistakenly thought dominant meant a superior gene and recessive meant an inferior gene. Let's use a simple example of earwax genes. You might have genes for both the dry and wet types of earwax. If you have both, you usually end up with the wet type. The wet type is one of that is expressed or visible. Changing the terminology to expressive and latent ensures that the language accuracy reflects the science, that one trait merely appears over another, without implying superiority or inferiority. Finally, sometimes it's not just the word that change, but the scientific facts themselves due to advances like molecular evolution. For example, in the past, all animals with backbones were categorized simply into 5 groups: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. However, genetic studies show that the bony fish, like eels, are genetically closer to land vertebrates, like humans, than there are cartilaginous fish, like sharks and rays, or jellyfish like hagfish. Yes, genetically, an eel is closer to a human than it is to a hagfish. Because of this molecular evidence, current high school textbooks are moving away from classifying these animals simply as fish. Today's message is clear: scientific precision matters. Whether we are talking about climate goals or genetics, using accurate language like carbon circulation society and expressive latent inheritance, helps prevent misunderstandings and ensure that our goals and knowledge reflect the underlying scientific reality. The reason I brought up this topic today is that I have two new project episodes I'd like to introduce. First, I had a collaboration with Tokyo Shoseki, a major textbook publisher. On the Japanese podcast, I appear on SCIEN-TALK. We invited the chief editor of their elementary school science textbook as a guest, and we talked in detail about how textbooks are made. Also, we've launched a new show called Kiku Atarashi Rika. It means a new way to listen to science. This is also a Japanese podcast, but if you are interested, please give it a listen. That's all for announcement. This podcast is broadcast in both Japanese and English. I'd love for you to listen to the podcast and post your thoughts with the hashtag SciencePod. Thank you for listening and see you next time.